listening to Inside a Great Outdoors. Kind of gloomy out. What? Middle of the winter.
You want to live with a cinnamon girl, Joe?
Pardon?
You want to live with a cinnamon girl?
I like cinnamon if it has sugar with it.
Could you be happy with a cinnamon girl?
Sure.
I would.
For the rest of your life?
Yeah.
I would. I like cinnamon girl.
I like cinnamon. When I was young, I called cinnamon. I was called it Could you put some cinnamon on my toast?
Mm-hmm. Cinnamon toast. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so with these cold, in fact, the big snowstorm is going to be in the southern part of the state. And what's bad about it is there could be a lot of ice. So the people down towards Columbus, they're going to be...
Remember that one ice storm? When was that? About 15, 20 years ago? Broke all those trees and all those lines were down. And that was...
We were up in... They had a bad one up in upstate New York one year because the next spring we went up there salmon and brown trout fishing.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, all the orchards and just trees everywhere, they were all snapped off, just branches snapped off.
Halfway
and everything
down,
else.
those trees were just
snapped in half, yep.
We went down rabbit hunting, I remember, and there were trucks from all over, Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Georgia, utility trucks from all over. We couldn't get breakfast any place because all these, they were actually giving those guys priority having breakfast at all these restaurants to anybody else, But that's okay.
Yeah, it's weather can be, but that's a part of the state that normally doesn't have the problem. It's always up here by the lake and lake effect. And so things are going to be a little bit different. But you have no control. You got to, but we've been lucky, although it's been an up and down. I'm just wondering if this ice that's going to be forming is going to stay, or is it going to be that up and down like other years?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of ice on the ground now, actually. It was that antediluvian movement before, and then we got all that water, all that rain, and then the snow.
That's all going to freeze up.
Yeah, and
the ground freezes.
Yeah, the ground is frozen, and I know the bed of my truck was all frozen.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
And then all that snow came in, and we got about 8-9 inches of snow out in Columbiaville over there.
It snowed pretty bad out. The secondary snow belts got hit pretty good. I know I was driving in it on Friday night because that was it's strange.
Yeah.
The sometimes at work I scratch my head about things, but
in what way?
It is what it is. It doesn't make any sense.
What doesn't?
Well, we do things called driving live shots.
Oh.
And you're supposed to be driving down the highway.
Yeah.
But with your cell phone, and there's an app they use where you can go live.
Yeah.
And it shoots video back to the station.
Yeah.
But it was, because I work nights, most of what I do shows up on the 11 o'clock news. And they wanted a driving live shot at 11. And I said, well, why are we doing a driving live shot at 11? Are our viewers going to see that and say, well, I'm not going out because it's snowing, or I am going out because it's not that bad? It's 11 o'clock at night. Nobody cares if it's snowing and the roads are bad because everybody's going to bed.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. And the other, I just don't think the driving live shots make much sense at all because, especially
at that time
in the evening shows at 6 o'clock, if you're watching the news, you just drove home through that weather and you know what it's like. So why do we have to show you what it looks like on the roads if you've already seen it and you're already home? You just drove through it. Do you want to see it again?
See it again? No.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, well.
I'm just not logic. But hey, who am I to say?
I don't know. Who are you to say?
I don't know. I've only 30 years experience and whatever.
Well,
I'm not their target audience. Let's put it that way.
You're not young and illogical.
Right. And because I asked the one person at work that the producer, and I was like, can you just explain it to me and have it make sense? And all he said was, that's what I was told to do. And I'm thinking, you would have made a great SS lieutenant. I'm just following orders.
Wisdom does not come with youth.
No. Wisdom does not come. Well, never mind.
I know what you were going to say.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's okay. But that's why we go fishing and hunting and do stuff outside
true.
To get away from all of that ridiculousness and enjoy ourselves. I did go fishing yesterday.
Did you?
Absolutely. And I donned my Striker Ice Hardwater Series ice fishing suit and went and sat on a dock.
Of the day?
A dock of the day, and didn't catch a thing.
Are you kidding?
But I had fun.
Good.
You were enjoying
because I was
the
outside
outdoors.
and, I was just marveling at my suit because it kept me nice and warm and, the wind was blowing and it was cold yesterday. It was, especially with that wind chill, it was in the low 20s. So.
And just remember, Carl, no man is bigger than the excuses he makes to his wife to go fishing.
That's true. That's a lot of people, this might be good for our national listeners.
Yes.
But a lot of people here locally are like, man, how do you get your wife to let you go fishing all the time? Because a lot of guys are like, I can't look out the window without my wife saying, what are you doing? You're not going anywhere. It's like, you got the wrong wife, number one.
What? They don't know how old we are.
And number two,
our wives want to get us out of the house.
Exactly. That's the secret, Norm. You've hit it on the head. The secret is you're just annoying enough that she says, get out. But you're not too annoying.
She bought me a new truck just to get me out of the house.
That's right.
Is that car comfortable? Is it comfortable enough for you? Are the seats comfortable? Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. But on the other end of it, you're not so annoying that she's unhappy you came back.
Yeah.
So there you go. And, you bring home some fish every once in a while and fry it up.
And I cook,
Yeah.
And I cook with wine all the time. Sometimes I even add it to the food,
Yeah. Joe cooks with wine.
Yeah.
Oh, I burned it again. That's Joe's wine. It's favorite wine.
He whines all the time.
I burned it.
So for New Year's Day, I went and made the mistake of buying. I had a good pork. And I bought a pork loin, which I know is dry.
Well, it can be.
It can, or you can soup it up, or you can make it delicious.
Okay, so I made it. It wasn't
delicious.
It was dry. But it wasn't overcooked. It was pink. I made the sweet sour cabbage. That was good. The dumplings were really dry. Everything I'm eating is so dry, it's terrible to eat. And the only thing I found I could eat, I had some green peas. They were okay. And I'm drinking liquid with my food. My food tastes terrible. I don't care what you guys say, something's up. Because food should not taste so bad. It is so dry, it's like when I first go, and I got gravy on it and everything, and after a couple bites, and I got this big pork loin by mistake. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but the dumplings were dry. Even those were coated with gravy. So this medicine is screwing me up because food tastes terrible.
Well, now I have a trilogy of cookbooks for Joe. Okay? Joe's cookbooks, the trilogy. First one, it's Runt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first one. And the next one is The Fear of Frying. Okay, and the last of the trilogy is Fry at Your Own Risk.
There you go.
Okay. I figured it out. I'm going to have some other people eat this food that I can't eat anymore.
No. You're going to have to get no.
And see if they say it's dry.
You might get in trouble.
Why?
Well, if they
might
die.
kill somebody.
No, because this food is okay. Right here, this croissant. How did it taste?
I thought it was okay.
I mean, it wasn't like dripping with moisture, but it
was okay.
Okay.
It tastes like every other time he brought a croissant in.
For me, it's terrible. Okay, so something is up.
You ate it.
No, I didn't. I had one bite.
You have one bite.
Yeah, so something's up. I don't know if it's this medicine they're on that I'm with this, which I'm going to change. So we'll see. Anyway, we got to take a break because we're going to talk about good cooking. We'll take a short break. We will return. We'll be back.
If you troll for walleye, steelhead, or even salmon, you need to check out Castaway's Magnetic Divers. The release is magnetic, so if it trips accidentally, no need to retrieve it. Simply give the line slack, it sinks and resets itself automatically. When fishing is slow, trip the diver when trolling. It will come up through the water column and very often trigger a strike because you are now covering different depths. It can be set to go off to the right, left, or straight behind the boat. It comes in 3 sizes and different colors. Why not try one today? You can order them online at Castaway.com. That's Castaway.com with a K. You will not only improve your fishing success, but will make trolling fun again because of no more retrieving after a false release. That's Castaway's Magnetic Diver at www.castaway.com with a K.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Until 6 a.m. Breaking up the dimes and quarters, slinging eggs and ham, scrambled poached or over easy, coffee black and strong, jukebox of scratchy records, I play 'em all night long. Eternal blue neon, we never close when the world is asleep. Darling, come take a seat. You can always eat at Joe's.
Eat at Joe's. Yabba-dabba-doo.
Boy, your throat is dry.
I guess. I think my voice is about the same right now. How's it going there, Keo?
It's going well.
Good.
Got the wood stove cranking, trying to keep old man Winter at bay.
Yeah.
Hey, the thing of it is, I know Carl's excited, but, word of caution to those areas that have received a lot of snow, that kind of insulates that layer of ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be bad.
Gotta be careful.
Yep.
You gotta be careful. I remember years ago taking the kids out. Oh, they were teenagers, I guess. They weren't little kids. And we were going to do some tip-up fishing at Lake Aquila. And we had weather like this. You know, it's been cold for a stretch. And, you know, probably a good solid 2 weeks. And, of course, a lot of snow.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked the ice at the ramp there, and it was pretty good. You know, it was like 3-4 inches. But as you got out onto the lake, there was a lot of slush on top of the ice. There was very little clear ice.
That's
So-
the extra weight you got to watch out for.
Yeah. So do be cautious.
And you're
We don't
right.
need
You're,
to-
you're absolutely right about the insulation factor. It
Right.
acts like a blanket.
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah. So
Aquila?
it's not going to.
You know, I haven't been there in probably 40 years. Doesn't that Aquila have a lot of weeds too, and like?
It has a whole lot of water lilies.
Water lilies, yeah, that's what I remember about
yeah.
Aquila. Yeah.
Yeah, and you snag onto a water lily, you got to row right up to
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not pulling free with you're going to snap your line. But
Yeah.
The biggest Ohio largemouth I ever caught was out of Aquila.
Yeah, there were
There's a
some
picture
big
of
ones
it.
in there.
On the Inside the Great Outdoors Facebook page, if you search through the photos. But it's been a number of years. But that was an exciting catch. She went back in.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it weighed, but it was a female laden with eggs, and she was 21.5 inches.
Ooh, that's
Nice.
dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was on a spinner bait. Just a tip. And we used to cast right along the edges of the lily pads, which
Yeah.
surround it.
Yeah.
But it's a natural lake. It's a glacial lake.
One of those
we have a
kettle
few
lakes, like.
County. Mm-hmm. So yeah, crystal clear water and
Mhm.
no gas motors on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Electric only.
Electric only, or you can get by with oars, or if you got a canoe with it's
Paddles
it's
or
nice.
oars?
It's a sheltered lake for the most part, and if it's windy, you can find areas that are protected because there's woods all around it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's a great place. If you've not checked it out, do so. But if you're going to do it now, make sure you have good tires, because the road going down to the lake is downhill, and you get there no problem, but getting out could be an issue.
Yeah, I guess. A few of those. A few of those along
Anyway,
the
Joe, you were-
Steelhead Stream, up along the Conneaut Creek up there, that are like that.
Oh yeah. Do consider that you have to get out once you get in. That same fishing trip I was talking about with the kids, that was back in the minivan days.
Uh-oh.
And we had and we were all in a minivan, and had it not been for 4 strapping young men to be able to push
it
me
out.
out, well, I'd still be there. But we had fun. Anyway, probably should talk about food. Joe, you were talking about pork loin.
Yes. Yes.
It's going to be dry. If you roast it, it's going to be dry. It's if you're going to roast pork, I always go with like pork butt, shoulder.
Yeah, I made the mistake, but then when I got home, I thought, oh shoot, and so any ideas of what I could do with it yet? Now I did not overcook it. I purposely watched, checked the temperatures, 125, and it's nice and pink in the middle. Although what's going on for me, it's so.
Oh, see, that's the way you do it. But there's very little fat, so it's
right. So what could I do with it now? Could I chop it up?
I'd chop it up and put it in
feed
gravy.
It to Bear and
Feed it to the chickens.
There's no.
Yeah,
there's nothing you could do with it.
You can put it in gravy.
I tried that.
Yeah.
You can and let it cook a while.
Here's what I do.
Yeah,
I
I like-
chop it up. I throw it in some
Mhm.
sauerkraut, put some ribs on top of it, and cook it slow, and then eat it all.
Could do it
Not a
that.
bad idea.
That's not a bad
Not
idea.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't throw it away.
No.
No,
Not at all.
no. I mean,
That
there's got to
fat
be.
from the ribs will get in there, and then you can eat it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Doc, you're a
grind it up, put it in a grinder with some bacon,
Mhm.
some salt and pepper,
Mm.
and some sage, and make a little sausage patty out of it, Joe.
That's what I was wondering
Yeah.
if it could be ground up.
Oh, sure.
You could
Sure
do
it could.
that.
You can make
Good.
hash. You can make like a pork
yeah.
hash with it.
So grind
Yeah.
it, and then what?
Grind it, put an
And-
onion in it, some
Yeah.
potato.
Some bacon.
You grind up
You need
some
some
bacon.
fat.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mhm.
maybe I'll try that.
there you go.
I
Make some
think
breakfast sausage.
maybe
Yeah.
one of my little mixer might have a grinder to it.
Put about 5 tablespoons of black pepper in it. Then you won't worry about the dryness.
Oh,
And you'll be able to taste
That's right.
And some Frank's hot sauce.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Put
guys.
some cayenne,
it. Yeah.
a
When in
heaping
doubt, reach for
tablespoon of
Frank's.
cayenne pepper, Joe. That'll
And some
cure it.
jalapenos.
That'll cure everything. And,
Ah.
and then just a pinch
You know what
of
I-
brown sugar.
Oh,
Make your
You know what
mouth
I did?
water.
Yesterday evening, roasted some chicken thighs in the
I love
Dutch oven.
chicken.
Me too.
Yeah. And I had marinated them ahead of time with garlic and olive oil and mustard
Mm.
and a little bit of fresh herbs in there and some lemon. And then let them go nice and slow all afternoon. It's just that you didn't need a knife. It just was,
That
you know,
would
super
fall
tender.
apart.
But then I'm always looking for a starch because I got to have a starch. You know, if it's not
Yeah,
potatoes,
yeah.
then it's rice, and
Rice.
noodles,
yeah,
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
dumplings.
And it dawned on me, I had not made Yorkshire pudding in a long time.
Ooh.
You know, if you've not had Yorkshire pudding, it's kind of like a popover, very eggy, and it's super easy. All you need is about 2 hours lead time, and a muffin tin.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you take, it's a very simple recipe, take 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So a little over a cup of flour, 4 large eggs, 1 cup of milk, and a teaspoon of salt. Now you put the flour and the salt in a mixing bowl, and you incorporate the 4 eggs. Beat them right into the flour. It'll be a really thick, eggy mixture then. And then take a whisk or something, or you could use a fork, and gradually pour in the cup of milk. And you'll end up with a real thin batter. And the secret I've found, from what I've read, is to let it sit at least an hour, preferably 2. And all those little granules of flour will absorb all that egg and make it much more flavorful. And then when you're just about ready to eat, put a little bit of fat in the bottom of each muffin tin cavity there. You could use fat from the chicken. You could use fat if you're making a beef roast or a pork roast. Just about maybe half a teaspoon in the bottom of the muffin tin. Put the tin in the oven, get it nice and hot. It's going to take about 10 minutes at about 400 degrees. Take it out and spoon the batter into the muffin tin about 2/3 full. And it should sizzle when you're putting it in there. Then put it in the oven, about 425, 400. And all it takes is about 12 minutes. and you'll see them rise up right out of the muffin tin, and they'll be probably 4 times their height, and they'll be hollow, and then you can immediately take them out once they're nice and golden brown. And again, it only takes about 10, 12 minutes, maybe 13, but you just want to keep an eye on it. Then serve them immediately, because they'll be nice and crisp on the outside and eggy in the middle, and you can pour, they'll be hollow. You can pour gravy in there, or you can, put whatever you'd like in it. But it's kind of a unique starch for your dinner if you're having some kind of roast. You can also use, if you weren't roasting pork, chicken, or beef, you could use the vegetable oil at the bottom of the muffin tin. I'd probably go with like a peanut oil, something that has a high smoke point. But man, are they tasty!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great alternative. You're looking for a starch to accompany your beef or venison or whatever you have.
Good.
But it's all like pudding. The
Yeah,
British have a different meaning when it comes to pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We think of
It's not like Jell-O pudding.
no. Which might be good after dinner, but
Yeah.
not with your roasted chicken. that would be a little.
I don't know what it is. Every once in a while, I get a craving for butterscotch pudding.
Oh yeah, I used to love that. I haven't had that in years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
My wife gets tastes for puddings. Every
Instant
once in a while.
or the kind you have to cook on the stovetop.
Yeah.
The one that'll develop a skin on it.
Yeah, pudding skins.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was some recipe that used
Rice pudding,
skins.
too. I like rice pudding every once in a while.
Okay.
Rice pudding.
I like bread pudding.
All right.
Love bread pudding.
Well, we're going to have some good news later.
Yes, we will.
Okay. I'll talk to you then.
Gentlemen, talk to
See
you
ya.
then.
See ya. Okay. Take a short break. Got Dale. We'll get to him on the other side. You're listening to Inside the Great Outdoors. We'll return.
Open your eyes, look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's gone.
I'm a little worried about Fred now. He's been throwing everything in the cab of this truck, barking and screaming. I think he's turned into a stalk of bananas. Come back. What's your 20? About 16 miles
Welcome
this
back.
side of Mississippi.
Well, how's Franco doing? Boy, we haven't talked to you in a while.
Kodiak with a Kodak. This place-
Yeah, and I almost feel bad. It's 8 degrees, and my truck is in my backyard, so I'm going to have to go with my mouth.
Oh,
That's okay.
Very nice.
I had to bring it home and plug her in because it's cold over here.
I bet. 8. Ooh, thought we had it bad.
Yeah, it's chilly. I think it got down to 2 overnight.
Wow.
And yeah, it's my I've got to get off my duff and get down in the basement. I've got half a crawl space in the basement, and the my kitchen sink is on the exterior wall, and it kind of likes to freeze. And the weird thing is the hot line tends to want to freeze faster than the cold.
Huh.
Which I don't know. There's got to be physics or chemistry or something in there, but
Yeah, that's interesting.
Joe, I was watching a show last night, and I can't remember what the heck it was, but I looked up. It said it was, I think it was 2005 or 2007, and the guy had a what did you pioneer? The
Freeze drying?
freeze drying. Thank you.
Yeah.
How could I not remember that? But he opened a door that was about the size of a small garage door,
Okay.
and he was putting in documents.
Right.
But I looked it up, and it had all these shelves or little slots in it, and then it was. You sure as heck couldn't get a rhino in there.
No, well, yeah. In fact,
but he had it. It aired in 2005 or 2007, so you had him beat hands down.
Yeah. We used to do a lot of because I had in the freezer to do the taxidermy. I had tanks that were a good 4 foot or more in diameter and open, so I could put anything in there. And then I had another freeze dryer that had shelves, and the reason those were there is I could either freeze those shelves, I could get them down to I can't remember, I'd say probably about 60 below, or I could heat them up to like 200 degrees, and it circulated this, which was expensive. It's I can't think of the chemical, but you could freeze it, or you could almost boil it, and I would take and pump that through the shelves, and that's how you could speed up doing.
Would that be liquid nitrogen?
No. It was
something else.
It was another. It begins with an L, not lice. Oh, I can't think that. And I got a 55-gallon drum of it left when I emptied it. It was really expensive, but you could either, because then I had refrigeration that could really refrigerate it, or I ran it through heaters where I could really warm it up. But even circulating it would also take and create heat. But you had to know how to do it. Now with documents, it was easy because it was you can't hurt it. It would make it dry, and would stop it from sticking, but it wouldn't get ruined. Like if you did an animal, you could get it to spoil or shrink up so bad, and that's what the problem was. Documents didn't shrink. Animal things did.
The story I love was, and I'll never forget it, where somehow, I can't remember if you said it was FBI, I just said I'd never forget it, but somebody with guns at the government found out you had the dehydrator, and there was like millions of bear bonds or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That. They wanted to have you dry them out. And
yeah,
like,
see, I made them.
Bring white vans. Don't bring armored
vehicles. Yeah, we had to have 24-hour guys sitting there,
guarding them
with long guns, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and I told them, they when I had to go pick it up, they said, "We'll get you an escort." I said, "No, quiet." They filled my van up and just quiet, and I raced home, and I had the employees waiting. Got some other people. We pulled in, man, and got them in that freezer right away, so nobody knew until it was about done. But then every Monday, the bank would come, and they would pick up like $2 million worth in a couple boxes.
Oh, man.
And I let them worry about getting it. But you do it quiet, But yeah, we had to have guys guarding it 24
send 6 Chevy Chevettes. I don't want an armored vehicle. I want a Chevy Chevette.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. But I made the mistake of just doing it on space, not value, because I could have really made some money with it. But that's okay. It was a good learning thing. It's some good memories now that I look back, so it don't matter. But yeah, that was.
Hey, you guys were asking one time about the trucks with the big dial on the side, and I'm wondering if I see because I'm right off of I-35. Do you guys see Farmers Oil trucks? And it's funny because they're typically propane, but it's got to be. And here's a plug for Farmers Oil. It's a trucking company, and there's one in Kansas, and I can't remember where the other place is. But they are the most beautiful trucks, and I can't even imagine what they spend keeping those trucks clean, even in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But they have the big dial on the side with the pressure.
No, I've never
And,
seen that.
I don't remember.
That's crazy.
No.
They may have those
They're
in like,
everywhere
Western
on
Ohio.
I-35.
Yeah.
They may
Yeah.
have those out in Western Ohio, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, I don't
They
know.
must
Yeah.
just go north and south. But yeah, I mean, when you're bored, Google Farmers Oil, and these trucks, just one after another, are just beautiful, even all winter long.
Wow.
But they got the big dial on them. I'm back to, I can't remember how long it's been since we talked, but I'm back to, I decided to leave the chickens alone, and I'm hauling biodiesel again.
Oh, okay. Good.
Soy-based biodiesel.
Yeah, good. Well, so nice to hear from you.
Interesting looking.
Yeah,
It's
we
good to talk
Happy
to you
New
too.
Year.
Take
Yeah.
care, everybody. Happy New Year to you guys
Yeah.
too. Be
Thanks.
well.
You got it,
Stay
Frank.
safe, Franco.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Be careful, Frank.
Okay, and let's get Dale in here. We got just a couple of minutes. How's it going, Dale?
It's going very well. I
Good.
do enjoy any time that somebody starts talking about a Chevette on a nature show.
Yeah, I used to have a vet.
I used to have. I've owned 2 vets in my life.
Yeah, they were
I
yours
only
Chevs too?
Yep.
I only owned one, and that was just fine. Thank you very much. For Doc,
Yeah.
there is something called a snack pack that has 4 little plastic tubs that you put in kids' lunches. They have a butterscotch that's pretty darn good.
Oh, okay.
So you may want to, and the nice thing about that is, you know, it's one little portion or 2 or 4, all 4 at once if you choose to.
That's for Carl.
But the main reason I called, my wife prompted me. We used to do pork dinners at church, and I was the one that was in charge of getting the 6 giant pork loins cooked.
Oh.
And here's what we did. We did it all in cooking bags.
Good idea.
And what we would do is in this case, we were cutting a whole giant pork loin. I don't know how long those are, maybe 22 foot long. We cut them in half. We sprinkle powdered onion soup on them,
Mm-hmm.
shove them in the bag, and shoot it in the oven and cook it right in the bag. And always get really nice moist pork, and
Yeah.
a little bit of seasonings in that onion soup makes it pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh,
good.
I bet. Yeah, Lipton onion soup.
Yep. Well, it doesn't even have to be Lipton brand. I mean,
Okay.
At Drug Mart, I'll plug the advertisers.
Okay.
They
good.
have an off-brand. Most places have an off-brand also. It works just as well and costs quite a bit less.
Yeah,
So-
good. Okay.
idea.
But cooking bags are the way to go, and obviously at the end you make sure you use your meat thermometer so you
Yeah.
are especially safe temperature-wise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, appreciate the call.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Okay.
Hey,
All
thanks,
righty.
Dale.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. I cooked it right. It was only 125. It was cooked right. Didn't get overcooked. It's just what I'm dealing with. So anybody else would have probably loved it. So we'll take a short break, and what are we going to learn on the
Bannock.
Bannock? Yeah, right. Okay.
Bannock bread.
We'll take a break. We'll be back.
We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
Do you enjoy a good story about hunting or fishing? Then you need to get your hands on Tales from the Trails, the real-life adventures of Castaway Coulis. Take a journey around the world with Joe as he recounts some of his best hunting and fishing trips, from Africa to Alaska, from behind the Iron Curtain to Australia. You can share in his memories through the book, complete with pictures to take you on the journey. It's a trip back in time looking through the eyes of an outdoors legend. Order your copy today on Amazon or at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
But baby, it's cold outside. But baby, it's cold outside. Been hoping that you drop in.
Welcome back. Time for the Doc Exchange. We're going to learn about bread.
Bannock.
Yeah, bet.
Bannock.
Greek to me.
Fry bread or griddle cakes or skillet cakes. It's bannock. Whatever you call it, it's been the mainstay. Fry bread for campers or shore lunches, even these old expeditions for centuries. The nice thing about fry bread is it's filling, and you can season it with about anything you want, chives, garlic, ramps, or just make it plain. I probably first had some back in the 60s. It was called Indian fry bread, I think.
Naan.
Huh?
Naan.
Naan.
Naan what?
That's Indian fry bread.
Is that what they called it?
Well, if you're in India,
No.
naan is it is. That's the stuff they slap on the inside of the tandoori and cook it.
Yeah. Well,
it's delicious.
This was American Indian fried bread.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being me.
You're just. I know you're being international. Is
That's
what
me.
You're being. You know?
All inclusive.
Yeah, all inclusive. Well,
Native American
This
fry
was
bread.
Back then. This was at a Miccosukee Indian restaurant along the Tamiami Trail in the Everglades. It was so good. I kept coming back. I was camping down there for more and more, and I'm sure it contributed to my MI-36 years later. I think they deep fried it though. I don't know how they made it, but boy, it was good. Fry bread was probably introduced to the Americas in the late 1600s or maybe the early 1700s. Who really knows? By European fur trappers. They called it bannock from the Gaelic word for bread. That at the time was probably made from either barley or oatmeal flour. This was kind of an attempt to make what they were used to, scones in a wild wilderness campfire. Who knows, you know? There are untold numbers of variations on the basic recipe for bannock, which calls basically for flour, water, and fat. Usually, the good stuff is made with bacon fat or lard. Sometimes, but not often, a leavening agent was used, baking powder, but usually a leavening agent wasn't used. In a large bowl or, nowadays, plastic bread, combine flour and fat until it's kind of crumbly, and add some water so that the dough is not really too sticky. You can wrap the manageable and handleable dough, try and make it so you can manage it with your hands, around maybe a green stick. That works pretty well. Or you can fry a patty of the stuff on a well-greased iron skillet over the coals. Flip it once. Watch so it doesn't burn, Joe. And you're ready for a hard, filling, tasty bread. Well, look at a few twists to the basic recipe. You don't need much if you want to make it on the stove, but you do need maybe an 8-inch campfire or a good frying pan at home. This is a recipe I've made a couple times for fry bread, and it gives it a couple of little tweaks. I use a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil or shortening. You can use Crisco lard or bacon grease if you want, if you have some around. Use 2.5 cups of flour. If you want to spice it up a little bit, you can use like a buttermilk pancake mix. You can use half and half flour and half pancake mix, a half a cup of cold water, add some chopped scallions to your taste, or you can add chives, you can add garlic, or depending on the time of the year, you can add some ramps, whatever you like. Optional, again, if you like it, you can add some salt. If you want to, make it a little more poofy, add a quarter teaspoon of baking powder. Mix everything together. And then with your fingers, make kind of a softball size piece of dough, and throw it in a warm pan with some fat. Flatten the ball. When the edges are brown, flip it. Make sure the center is starting to get not too doughy anymore, and then flip it, and you're ready to go. You got a nice piece of fry bread.
Best cooked in a cast iron skillet, just like you said.
Yeah, best in a
even
cast
heat.
Iron, even heat.
Oh, breaking news.
Yes.
The Cleveland Browns have fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey and offensive line coach Andy Dickerson.
Really?
So the bloodbath begins.
Wow.
Not that it's going to help any.
No.
They'll pick up those guys,
Oh, they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. They'll be head coaches someplace. Colleges
Someday.
will pick them up, or, somebody will pick them up. Other teams will pick them up.
But, who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know.
So, easy fry bread, and that's good.
Back to the fry bread.
If you're camping. You've made fry bread before, probably camping and stuff, Carl,
oh, yeah.
haven't you? Yeah, it's good.
That's, I've been watching YouTube videos of, it sort of gets me in the mood to be outside in the cold, watching the Inuits and they're not, I forget what tribe they are, but they're up there in northern Quebec.
Yeah.
And they're outside, and they're going Arctic char ice fishing and seal hunting and caribou hunting and harvesting. And
wow.
And that's what I was talking to my son about. It's like, watching these, and, they have cell phones, they have all the modern stuff, and basically they're shooting the videos with their phones.
Yeah.
What they do, they lay on the ice on their shoulder and look down the hole, and they're jigging big, flashy Williams spoons for the Arctic char.
But
you
wobblers,
you can see the Arctic char swimming around down there.
Oh, that's why
the water's so clear.
Yeah.
And they come up and whack it. But
how big were the fish?
Probably 25, 28 inches.
Oh,
good
nice.
sized ones.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's I was explaining to my son that, these guys, they live their lives in weather like this every day.
This would be a warm day for them.
Exactly. And it's like, but when they go ice fishing or seal hunting or caribou harvesting, if they don't catch anything, they don't eat.
They don't eat.
Yeah.
They can't go to Giant Eagle because they don't have that stuff up there.
No.
They get provisions that are brought in on the either plane or boat or whatever, but it doesn't last. They have to supplement that. They were out ice fishing and ptarmigan hunting. They're driving around on snowmobiles. If they see ptarmigan, they'll stop and shoot a couple of them, and
for breakfast.
Yeah, but that's what they show out on the ice. They're ice fishing. They'll catch a char and they'll clean it and fillet it up and cut it into squares on the skin, and then just eat it right there fresh,
Eat it raw.
Just right out of the ice.
Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't imagine.
Char sickle.
Yeah, char sickle. That's good. but yeah, it's just so interesting to see other cultures and how they live,
how they can, their body utilizes and metabolizes that stuff. They can eat that fat,
that high fat.
It doesn't bother them. The cholesterol from that doesn't bother them.
Well, that's the same thing with seal. They'll eat raw seal meat.
Yeah.
Or whale meat or whatever.
Fine. And they can eat the liver from a lot of those things, like from the bears.
Right.
And it's really high in vitamin A. That would kill us.
Oh, yeah.
The vitamin A content would kill us because of vitamin A toxicity. But it doesn't affect them at all. It's just amazing what their body tolerates, and they don't get the cardiac disease like we do. Our liver is constantly producing cholesterol. They used to say eggs are so bad for you because of the cholesterol content, but our bodies are constantly, your liver is constantly producing cholesterol. There's so much, bad health warnings out there. They were saying a few years ago that black spatulas and black utensils are bad. That's not true. Now they're saying they're okay to use. You don't have to throw them away. After a bunch of people probably threw all their black utensils away. They say the same they said about seed oils like sunflower oil and canola oil. They said they're bad. Now they say they're okay to use.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to take everything you read with a fine filter.
A grain of salt.
Grain of salt. All right, we're going to take a break.
But not too much salt.
Not too much.
2 hours
That's
gone.
bad for you, too.
Yeah. Everything is bad for you. Everything. Oh, well. Anyways, so we'll take a short break. We got in the home stretch, and we will return on the other side.
Rolling down the highway, smiling. The spuds are big on the back of Bud's rig. They're from Prince Edward Island. They're from Prince Edward Island. Now the Ontario Provincial Police don't think much of Bud.